Bushy Lake is a small man-made lake located in Sacramento, California. The area is used for recreation as well as wildlife habitat and restoration projects. There are a few endangered species that live in the area, and there is also an assembly bill that requires the preservation of the Bushy Lake area. It is located behind the Cal Expo site within a very urban environment. It is separated by a mile or so from the American River, which passes through the city of Sacramento. History. Historically, the area surrounding Bushy Lake is riparian habitat and floodplains of the American River. Some of the vegetation that surrounds the area include alder, willow scrub, cottonwood, elderberry shrubs, as well as other riparian fauna. Bushy Lake itself is a man-made lake that is located between Cal Expo and the American River. The Bushy Lake area varies in size depending on the rainfall and other factors, but it has remained between 11 and 80 acres as is designated by the Bushy Lake Preservation Act. In the summer of 2014, 160 acres of land surrounding Bushy Lake burned in a wildfire, leading to the restoration projects that are taking place. Bushy Lake is now a site of invasive species brought by outside sources as well as the native species that survived and regrew after the fire. Bushy Lake is owned and operated by Cal Expo. The water from Bushy Lake comes from a well that gathers urban water runoff from the fairgrounds. Location. Bushy Lake, like the rest of California, has a Mediterranean climate that consists of cool, wet winters and warm, dry summers. It is located in the northern part of California near the California State University of Sacramento. It is north of the CSUS campus behind the southeast corner of Cal Expo. It is in the city and county of Sacramento, California, United States. The lake is located just off a trail about a quarter to half a mile from the parking area near Gate 12 of Cal Expo. Bushy Lake is a small lake located not very far from the American River, about a quarter of a mile. Bushy Lake is within the American River watershed and gets its water from the American River. The coordinates are 38.5,889,279 degrees north, 121.4,345,277 degrees west. The area is prone to drought, erosion and groups of homeless populations and invasive species. In the American River Parkway Plan, the lake is designated as a nature study area. Flora and fauna. Bushy Lake and the American River Parkway as a whole have a variety of different flora and fauna species. The area is a site for the restoration of habitat for endangered species. Some of the species on the list are the western pond turtle, North American river otter, red-tailed hawks, valley elderberry longhorn beetles, and the willow flycatcher. There are cottonwood trees, elderberry shrubs, and willow riparian scrubs. As a result of different stressors such as fire and drought, there has been an increase in the biomass of invasive species that prosper in drought-like conditions. Plant survey have been conducted throughout the area and at least 12 plant species have been identified. Of the 12 identified, about half of the plants are native and the rest are non-native, some of which are very invasive to the area, causing different environmental problems. Bushy Lake Preservation Act and AB 889. The Bushy Lake Preservation Act was enacted in 1976, and the primary intent of the act was to support the ecosystems in the area by supporting the habitat of flora and fauna. The Bushy Lake Preservation Act is a legislative act that requires the floodplains to be maintained and preserved for public use and enjoyment. Assembly Bill 889 makes amendments to the Bushy Lake Preservation Act by expanding on some of the requirements of the original act. The California Exposition and State Fair Board of Directors are required to maintain and preserve Bushy Lake and the Cal Expo floodplains in a way that is consistent with what a state park and natural preserve are. Assembly Bill 889 also requires that the preservation and management of Bushy Lake and the flood plains of Cal Expo conform to the standards and regulations of the American River Parkway Plan. The Bushy Lake Preservation Act also only allows that parking is to be permitted during the time of the state fair and only on specified land. However, AB 889 requires 1 acre of land to be designated at all times for public use as long as cars are not parked there for more than 34 days. In addition, AB 889 requires that about 11 acres of land to be specifically for the use of parking near the floodplains so that more of the public can have access. Projects. Bushy Lake is a popular site for many restoration projects. The Environmental Studies Department at CSUS has an ongoing restoration project that aims to restore the white root and creeping wild riparian understory in the recently burned areas of Bushy Lake. The Bushy Lake Restoration Project is long-term collaborative a wetland, riparian and education project between the CSUS Environmental Studies Department and the Sacramento County Parks Department. The project was initiated at the Ecological Society of America conference in Sacramento by a variety of different organizations including Yale, University of California, Davis, Sacramento County Parks, and the American River Parkway Foundation in August 2014. The goals of the project are to restore fire-resilient and drought-resistant native plants to the area, to restore habitat for local native animals, as well as provide environmental educational opportunities for the public. Some of the projects include avian habitat, plant restoration, wetland, riparian restoration, and other local animal habitat restoration projects. Restoration efforts in the long run will reduce the amount of groundwater needed to sustain Bushy Lake. Recreation. Bushy Lake is a popular area for recreation. It has a variety of trails that can be accessed through different entry points. The main access road, however, is located next to a small public parking area behind Cal Expo. The main trail is the American River Bike Trail. There are also fishing opportunities both in the lake and in the nearby American River. People who fish are asked to submit reviews about the fish and wildlife that they encounter. This area is used for viewing the native and non-native flora and fauna, bike riding, equestrian riding, hiking and picnicking in addition to accessing the river. Timeline of Restoration Bill